What's going on, guys? Today's topic of conversation is small business marketing strategies that your competitors are not using. So if you want to outmarket your competition, stay tuned. I'm going to give you a lot of great tips that is going to absolutely crush your competition. I have an amazing guest today, my man, Mike Kresh. He is the president of Kresh and Partners, LLC. It is a marketing and branding consultancy based right here in Jersey.
Yes.
He's like my neighbor.
Yes, sir.
So, he started this company in 2013, and his client base is an eclectic mix of small to medium-sized businesses. So, without further ado, I want to introduce Mike to the show. What's going on, dude?
How you doing?
Dude, I'm super stoked to have you on the show.
Hey,
Why?
Feeling is mutual.
Because I love interacting with like-minded folks that are in the same industry to get those outside perspectives. You know, it's tough when you're inside the bottle. You can't read the label.
So true. Very true, my friend.
Right? So
Yeah.
Real quick, for those who don't know who Mike is, give me like a 3-minute bio on how you founded this consultancy.
Sure. So my background, went to business school and did the management consulting thing, which was great from a financial standpoint because it allowed me to pay some bills and do that, but I was miserable. So kind of left the game, went back to marketing and took a step back and really went to the agency world, which was really like a second MBA. Then I got engaged and realized the agency lifestyle had to change. So I took a job marketing at Hearst, ran marketing for Popular Mechanics magazine, which at one time was a $40 to $50 million brand, and spent over a decade at Hearst at a very senior level marketing role. Print world changed a lot over that time. And ultimately, I was let go, but it was really a big opportunity for me because I learned so much about the world of corporate marketing on the big stage. And to me, there was a big definitive opportunity to help the smaller business get the same bang for the buck as some of the Fortune 500 were in an affordable budget. So that was the mission behind me starting my own thing. And it's now 6 years. And so I've had some good success with some long-term clients and doing some quick fixes and consulting with clients. So, but the essence of my business now really goes back to that original mission, and that is helping the small business to thrive.
I love it, dude. I love it.
Thank you, man.
We share a very common vision and mission. You know, my goal here at Unique Designz, I started as a graphic designer 13 years ago.
Nice.
You know, and then eventually morphed into and matured into a little branding boutique agency. And, you know, one of the things that I am hell-bent on fixing is people that have solopreneurs, you know, consultants, coaches, and that sort, that have amazing insights, amazing expertise, yet they're not representing themselves with the true value that they have within.
That is so true. You see
Right?
that so often. Yes.
So, you know, I've been blessed, dude, to been able to master this and to now teach it and share it with my clients as well. So great to have now some context around who you are and what you do. Now, let's get into today's topic of conversation.
Yeah, let's do it.
There's a lot of people out there that are salivating at what we're going to drop for them today. So small business marketing strategies that most competitors aren't using. Let's get into that. So it's 2019, about to be 2020 in a drop of a dime.
Right.
What are some of the trends, and what are some of the things that you see a fraction of the people, the small business owners, a fraction of them actually executing and finding success where others just haven't caught up yet, or they're like turning their eyes, they're turning their heads like, that's not us. We're not doing that, which eventually is going to come back and bite them in the ass.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I almost don't even know where to start, but let's start with a simple one that I see with our shared audience and what a big mistake that I think is being made. And that is on the social media front. I feel like there's just an inordinate amount of pressure for the solopreneur, for the small business to feel like I have to be on and I have to be uber active. And so there's a rush to just simply being alive and to simply just throwing stuff out there. And what's really lacking at the end of the day is strategy, right? So I think before you're on social, before you commit to just the tactical exercise of being on any social platform. What I see the biggest mistake is a lack of strategy. And it starts with, what is the company mission? Who are we speaking to? And when you've really drilled down into the essence of the strategy, that's when you create the brand persona and you get into the tactics. But it doesn't go the other way around. It doesn't start with just, let's get some posts up and let's hope that people respond. Because in this day and age, what I'm seeing, there's just so much activity on social and so much clutter that unless you have something special and really targeted, it's not going to cut through, and it ends up invariably being a waste of time. The other thing is, even the small business can make good use of analytics and data. And I'll give you 2 examples. One, very simply, I'm a big fan of email as a marketing vehicle. You can tell a really compelling story. You can showcase content video, but I don't see enough good use of the analytics that go with a good email, meaning taking the data, see who's engaging consistently, and then following up with a follow-up campaign specifically geared at those people that are listening. It's just sort of, let's send something out and hope people respond. But there's a plethora of data out there that can be used. Same thing with websites. Not nearly enough use of Google Analytics from what I've seen from clients, right? Like, there's a world of data out there, a wealth of opportunity to find out behavioral traits and patterns, and that can guide you with future marketing.
Listen, I used to dread analytics.
Yeah.
And I realized that it's so important that without them, you're shooting into the dark. I'll give you guys a quick tip here. I use a software called Lucky Orange.
Nice.
And Lucky Orange is a phenomenal software that it's a little snippet of code. You put it on your website. You can put it on your sales funnel pages, and it will record people. It's a heat map / recording software. So anybody that hits your website, it will record their activity. And it's amazing to watch these recordings because you actually see what people are doing on your website, what they're scrolling over, what they're spending most of their time on. This is amazing insight. I mean, it's for $20 a month, you could put it on 2 different sites. I think there's a $10 option where if you only have one site, I highly recommend. I have no affiliation with these guys. I just think that they're really good at what they do. I strongly advise you get that sort of analytic going on. And again, leveraging Google Analytics as well. It could be a little overwhelming. It could be a little intimidating. When I first got Google Analytics, I didn't want to touch it because I was like, the hell's all these buttons and tabs? Right? But so insightful.
But even going back to the email concept, if you're using MailChimp or Constant Contact, it's a very simple analytic structure, and the data is very easy to use. It's just a function of taking advantage of it while it's there.
I think one point that I want to highlight here when it comes to seeing a lot of my competitors out there, they're not, and I love that you brought up the social media aspect. And I love the fact that you said, it's not just about dumping content out there and seeing if it sticks. You have to be very intentional. You have to be very strategic. But the one thing I do not see enough of is the owner of the business or the solopreneur actually coming out and sharing war stories, sharing their story as an entrepreneur.
No doubt.
There's just not enough of that. And I think that's really holding them back.
No, I think you touch on it's a great point, right? Like, we're missing the human element, right? In so many respects. Like, it's sort of like, I don't want to say there's an equilibrium, but over the past few years, there's been an established sort of hierarchy of tactical things that we have to accomplish. And kind of what's getting lost is just what you just said, right? It's that people forget the human element. People forget that behind the story of a small business, there's been struggle and sacrifice and shitty days and with that, some great success. And that's the sort of engaging stuff that people want. The other thing which I don't see too is it's so easy to forget that at the end of the day, if you were to speak to the top CMOs, the top companies, even regardless of whatever success they've had with whatever sophisticated tools they have available, word of mouth marketing still reigns supreme, right? You can't beat the recommendation of a good friend or somebody that says you have to use this person. So to that end, to me, another thing that's missing, and this goes back to what we were talking about before, people aren't doing the surprise delight element of marketing enough, right? Go to your customer and give them something, even if they don't expect it, right? Like if you're a restaurant, I am amazed at how few restaurants don't just, as opposed to just give away a free cookie, you know what I mean? Or say, I thought you might like a free cup of coffee. It costs you, but you know what? That word of mouth is going to extend so far. Apply that to the B2B realm, apply that to, e-commerce. Companies should just need to set aside, especially the small business, needs to set aside time, effort, and budget to surprise and delight their clients when they least expect it. And it will go a lot farther than a lot of other things. And I think that's getting lost in the shuffle of this, regimented digital world, taking nothing away from it because it's essential. But to your point, we're missing the human element.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny. The law of reciprocity still reigns high on my, on my book. I talk about this in my Brand Yourself course. Gary Vee gave me such a piece of insight last time I caught up to him at Wine Library, right around the corner from you.
Yeah.
He introduced to me that 51-49 philosophy that he executes quite well. And what he says is, when you're creating a relationship with somebody, put in the 51% effort. Just put in the 51% effort and don't expect anything in return.
Right.
Just go above and beyond at all times. And you'll never be disappointed if you do not expect anything in return.
Correct.
And I even in my darkest days, Mike, where I didn't have two nickels to rub together, I always gave because I said to myself, this is going to come back around. I don't know when, but karma is real and you just got to put it out there. And so I love what you're saying. That surprise element, you just putting yourself out there. It's like driving through a toll booth and the toll collector saying, that guy in front of you just paid your toll.
Exactly. It's the same concept. That's exactly right. Exactly right. But more importantly, if you're in our line of work, if we can do something that helps somebody grow their business unexpectedly, there's nothing better that you can do. And I totally agree with you about the karma thing. I'd rather lose. I don't care if I lose a piece of business if I know I've given more than expected, and I've given with my heart and not only with my mind. I think philosophically that's important for any business to succeed. And you're right, like even in your darkest state, things are going to come around because karma has a funny way of paying you back.
Yeah, I think the more you put out, the more you're going to get back of that. They say you want more money, then give more of it up. Like it sounds so counterintuitive, but it's not. The beauty of it is, to your point, every single business has something tactically that they can do to achieve this.
You know what I mean? Like for you and me, maybe it's, for example, I created an interactive PDF for a client doing an event. And I just said, hey, this might really help. You know what I mean? And there's something that every single business can do to its client base that maybe the client base isn't expecting, that delivers that surprise value add that really goes a long way.
Yeah. And let's talk about branding for a second from one branding guy to the next, right? Like, yes. Branding, it means so many different things to so many different people, especially if you're not in the space. I eat, sleep, and drink this stuff every day. Right. So I have a real firm understanding of what it is. But a lot of folks don't. And they think it's just your website. They think it's just your
or a logo.
Right? Yeah. And we talk about this in nauseam, but it's very important to understand what branding is. And it was going to what Mike was saying before. Branding is that gut feeling people get when they are interacting with either you or your business, period. Whether it's your products, your services, your ads, the messaging, your videos, everything. It's that gut feeling. So to Mike's point, when you're out there and you're creating that goodwill, you're putting yourself out there, right? Just imagine the feeling that is getting created inside of your client's heart and mind and body. Like, I really want to put a lot of emphasis on that because I don't think enough small businesses are doing enough solid brand work in today's age.
Oh, I totally agree. Listen, every individual and every business has its own unique promise of value. And I think that to me sort of defines what a good brand is, when somebody knows and understands a unique promise of value. Like, you take, not that we have to go big picture, but you look at a brand like Disney. What makes Disney unique? It's the Magic Kingdom. It's a magical experience. It's kid-friendly. There are certain facets that are strong and that are really distinct and unique to that brand. Well, the same concept applies to a solopreneur or a small business owner. What makes you unique? What is your unique promise? And if you can articulate that clearly, you have a definitive advantage over almost anyone else.
Yeah, hands down. I totally agree. So let's swing into the doc's prescription segment. Right
Yes.
now, as we start to round this up, you said a lot of great things, and I want to sort of emphasize the key points here. Number one is really having a clear, defined mission and vision of your brand and of your business. Like, without that, you're shooting into the dark. So really understanding who that ideal client is and then revolving everything around that person is going to help you just make things a lot simpler, because simple sells. Simple sells. So you really got to pay attention to that, right? The next thing is leveraging analytics. I talked about Lucky Orange. Mike talked about Google Analytics. There's so many different other types of platforms out there to really get a sense of the insights of what people want. Another platform that I would suggest is a website called answerthepublic.com. You type in answerthepublic.com and it brings up this creepy bald guy that looks like a wizard. And he's in the background and he's kind of doing all these weird movements. But what you do is in the query, you type in a key phrase that's revolving around your niche. And it spits back at you hundreds of questions that people have Googled around that keyword or key phrase. Now you have a really good pulse on what people are interested in. And then what you could do is you can revolve your content around one.
Bingo. That's fantastic. Yeah.
Each
really
day.
Great.
And now you have a whole blog portfolio. You have a video portfolio. You have social media post portfolio of all the answers to these questions.
Awesome. And it goes back to exactly the point that I raised before, that rather than rush into the tactic based on intuition or what you think you should be doing, or just to dive into it, if you take some time and use that tool, then you really have your finger on that's a great tool.
Yeah. And then last but not least, and I think this is the powerhouse tip that I really want you guys to get today. And it's understanding the feeling that people will get when you go above and beyond. I mean, simply put, Mike said, when you go above and beyond without your audience or your clients expecting it, you are investing in your future. That's the way I look at it. You can look at it the other way and say, you know what? They don't pay me enough for this. They're not paying me for this, so I'm not doing it. Listen, to each his own. But what philosophy, what mindset do you think is going to take you further? That, or the one that says, you know what, I'm just going to do it anyway. It'll come back around. I don't know when, but listen, I'd rather have a happy customer than someone who's indifferent or going to walk away not as satisfied as I could have left them, right? That is the big takeaway I want you guys to get. Give more to get more, and you will see a huge difference in your branding and in the way your audience and clients interact with you. So let's move on to the question of the day, guys. So the question from the community today is, how does design impact your business's bottom line? So I'm going to take a stab at answering this, and I'm going to shoot it over to Mike and have him tackle this question as well. So how does business impact your bottom line? Well, I can share with you this. The folks that do not invest in quality design, right, do not get the quality of clients that they are looking for. Why? Because when somebody comes to their website, their sales funnel, their social media identity, or their establishment in a physical location, and it is not designed properly and with quality, they think to themselves, maybe the quality of their product or service sucks just as bad. And I just say that, like, wholeheartedly, like, because it is the truth. If you're not going to put in the time and effort and investment into your design to give that great first impression, to leave that impactful moment in split seconds, then what makes you think that somebody is going to pull out their wallet and invest in you?
That was probably much better said than I could have ever done. I couldn't agree with you more. I'll add that, I recently did some research, and I think the average attention span is under 8 seconds, which means that if you're a consumer in today's world with an unlimited number of choices in whatever you're looking for, invariably, if you're looking for a product or service, even if you've got a strong referral, if you're online, you've got a myriad of choices. If you're a business, you've got one chance to make an impression, and you need to keep. So if your design is anything short of stellar, if it's anything short of captivating, you run the risk of losing it. It's that simple, because if you're not investing in it, it means somebody else is. And, if somebody's aesthetic, especially online, captures your eye in a way more so than another competitor, you're giving somebody a competitive advantage from the get-go. So I can't agree with you more that not enough attention to the design is basically like putting yourself at a disadvantage from the start. And you can make that decision. And let me tell you, I have clients that don't want to make the investment in quality design. And I always tell them it's a cardinal mistake, because it's like putting yourself behind the 8 ball from the get-go. If you have to invest in an area, you have to go to, the value of a quality design firm or just a great designer from the get-go is a huge competitive advantage. It is. There's no debating that.
I'm not just saying that because I'm a designer, but
no, and I'm not saying it because you're a designer either. It's just facts. You come down to a decision between two businesses, real quick. You're looking for something online. You've got to make a snap decision. Your eye is immediately going to gravitate towards the design that's more appealing to your eye, and so they've got the advantage right from the get-go. It's just that simple. And then if the rest of your content follows suit, you're in a strong power position to win the business.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I'm not even going to add to that. I think that is the perfect way to segment out. Now, Mike, where can people learn more about you and how you help your clients?
So right now, my two companies, my consulting firm is www.kreshinpartners.com. My email company is www.emailfirepower.com. I am also a huge LinkedIn guy, so I welcome any connection. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn. My name is Mike Kresch, and the spelling is Kresch. And again, in the spirit of what we just discussed, if you want, feel free to just reach out if you have a question. I'm more than happy to answer with no future obligation based on anything we've discussed. Any solopreneurs or small businesses out there have any question, I'm more than happy to answer.
Awesome. Well, Mike, I appreciate you.
No, I appreciate the opportunity of being with you, my friend.
No, absolutely, man. We definitely got to link up in person too. Dude, you're too close.
Hey, I'm right here at Duncan if you want to meet me.
I love it, man. I love it. All right, guys. So let's wrap up the show. I really appreciate you guys tuning in today. Real quick, if you haven't subscribed to the podcast, hit that subscribe button. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Drop some comments below. Drop some questions below. If you haven't written a quick little written review on iTunes yet, I really appreciate you doing that, because it is the fuel that fires this program up and really gets me going. So without further ado, last but not least, the Brand Yourself course is out and about. It's new. It's improved. It is the blueprint to help you build a profitable and reputable personal brand around you. And I put 13 years of experience into this course. And I can tell you I left no rock unturned when it comes to putting in that content and giving you what you need to succeed. So check out the description or in the show notes for that link and enroll today. So have an amazing, amazing day, guys. And I'll catch you on the next one. Take care.